currently what I'm about to do is change the brake pads on the Aston Martin DB11. It's only got 6,000 miles on it. Why am I changing the brake pads? Well, I'll tell you, the stock pads are extremely aggressive on this car, and they sound like a school bus pulling up and dust really bad, which is great for stopping, horrible for daily driving or taking to a car show or anything like that. So what did I do? I went ahead and ordered my pads from Porterfield. Porterfield's the company. They make a lot of brake applications, and I bought their RS pads, RS4s, and I'll show you what that is. This, simple enough, front brake pads, rear brake pads. Yeah, hopefully this solves my problem, and we're back on the road again, maybe looking a little better and sounding a little better. Now, first thing I've got to do is I've got to move these cars out of the way and put the Aston on the lift. But yeah, so now I'm going to get the Aston, which is car number 3. I get to start. All right, now, gotta move this car out of this garage and into that garage. So let's see what we're working with here. So we're gonna have to pull these wheels off. And to do that, I've got a slide jack under there that I'm gonna slide up, and hopefully it'll be able to touch here where they normally lift it and here where they normally lift it. And then we'll be able to take both the wheels off, get to the brake rotors, brake calipers, and we'll be able to switch everything over. So it's a pretty simple process, but sometimes there's things that are in the way, so we'll see. All right, guys, first wheel's off. All right. These lime calipers look pretty dirty right now, mainly because I just drove it from Atlanta back. So yeah, everything under here looks real good though. And it's got a lot of Aston Martin logos that you wouldn't see, little Easter eggs. So she's pretty cool, man. Yeah, the next thing, we're gonna pop this bolt off, slide it out, push these pins out, and then we're gonna pry the pads back away from the rotor. And then we're going to basically, at that point, slide the new pads in with some stuff on them to keep them clean. But check that out, there's a little Aston logo right there. That's really cool. But walk you through the process. It's not hard, it's just time consuming, really. Now the back is a different story. I've also got to be careful not to break the brake sensor in the process, because if I break that, that's an Aston part. It's going to be expensive. So yeah, this is how you do a brake job on an Aston Martin DB11 AMR. I'm just doing pads. There's no point in changing the rotors. They have 6,000 miles on them. They're basically new. Well, guys, we got one thing that I don't know what to do here. There's actually a sensor that came with the pad, which is cool and all. I'm probably not going to need it. These sensors on the Aston, they actually clip in, but it's only in one pad. So I'm not going to do the other side yet with this. I know this side doesn't need a sensor, so we're just going to clip the new sensor in from the Aston, see what's up. I'm guessing these are used on different applications that have a heat sensor or something that Aston may not use. Either way, I guess we'll see. All right, guys, so the tools needed for this job are fairly simple. Hammer, punch, impact with a 13 millimeter socket. Also, these are also a 17 millimeter lug bolt. We try to use a nice finish because these are actually kind of an expensive lug bolt, believe it or not. But yeah, and then we'll need a pry bar to pry this back. I'll grab that in a minute. Yeah, and then this is the sensor that we're trying to protect right here. So we'll be prying all this stuff back, pushing the fluid. See this gap right here? So that is all the pistons pushed out. We're pushing all that back in to make room for the new pad. Shouldn't need to move much. The rotors are in excellent shape. The biggest goal here right now is for me to just not scratch the caliper. That would hurt me very, very bad. So we don't want to scratch the caliper. We're going to do our best. Now this side, I've got some movement. I can move the wheel around, do what I got to do. The back, I do not have that same luxury. So hopefully the back's pretty simple. We'll see. Simplest way to keep up with everything. We'll use new Loctite on that. We'll clean everything while we go as well. And then on these, you go backwards first. Then we turn it around so that we get more room. We're going to drive this out. Now, before I drive that all the way out, let's go ahead and pry these pads back. I think we've created enough room. If I can finish knocking the pins out safely. Everything is loose here. The new pads aren't that much thicker than the old pads, so no sense in really worrying too much about it. But yeah. Hopefully with a little finesse here. And then it's loose. So the top one is pretty much loose, a little tight, because you got a clip here that it's an anti-rattle clip, believe it or not. It keeps it from squeaking. And that's what happens when you drive it in like that. Luckily we didn't mar this up any, and I didn't scratch the car with this. And then the bottom one's gonna be a lot easier, because I don't have that big spring in my way. Actually, the bottom one's so easy it just slid right out. So then we take and slide the old pads out. Now these guys are OEM Aston Martin, OEM part number, but the biggest difference in these pads and those pads is the material. So this material is very, very metallic, and it's meant for better braking, for if you're going to track the car. Now I don't plan to track the car, so I'm not too concerned with that. I just want it to be a good driver around the streets, and I don't want it to squeak. So off with these pads and on with the new ones. This is that sensor I don't want to break. I'm currently just kind of walking it out of there slowly. Once I've got it out. And that's it. Sensor's out. Now we're ready to put our new pads in. There's a sensor spring that goes on here that holds it in. I almost lost it. I'll just pop that back on. We'll clean all this up, and then my hands are in these rubber gloves are sweating like crazy. I probably should have even just wore rubber gloves. It was a little ridiculous to even do. But either way, looks like we've got plenty of room. Let's see if the new pad fits in, no problems. Okay, so the outside pad's got plenty of room. We just got to make more room on the inside pad. What we do is we take the old pad, put it back in, like so, And then we pry that bad boy back. Let's try it again. Inside pad's in. So now I'm gonna grease the backside because I want to get rid of these squeaks. And one thing you want to do is you just grease the backside of the brake pad. It helps with pad movement, and that's what that squeak usually is. So I'm gonna do that real quick. Got our pad grease, and we're just going to grease some certain areas after we do some cleaning first. I think that's the best option. So let me grab something to clean this up with. A little brake cleaner. It's over here. And what I'm cleaning are the brake slides, and I'll show you those in just a second. But we're going to grease them so that the pad has something smooth to slide on. And basically that's this area right here on the backside. So in here, we're just cleaning up the mating areas, like right in here and right in here. So yeah, and then we're just gonna put some brake grease on the back sides of these, and we'll be good to go. All right, now add a little bit of grease on the back side of these rotors. It's not pretty, but it works. So that's the big part. We want to get rid of those squeaks as much as possible. Next up, we lock in our brake wear sensor. All right, it's locked in. Everything's good there. Drop the new pad in, just like that. Now's the fun part. So these are anti-rattle springs, and they fight you the whole time. So we're gonna clean this up, a little bit of brake clean. Get it cleaned up. We're gonna put some grease on the tabs that lock these down, and then we'll go to the next part. And the places you're gonna put that grease is here, 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 and here. And then when you push this in, go from the bottom to the top, lock it in, drive your pin back in from the back side, and everything's good to go. Easiest way to do it though is to place your first pin in from the bottom. We're also going to clean these up too. Like that, and it's going to have tension to push the pads where we want them, and then we drive the springs. This part right here is springy, see? But all it does is push the pads out, but we want to grease these locations here, here, and here. We want to grease those locations because that's another place where it can rattle or squeak. Rattles are basically squeaks. High speed rattling creates a noise that's obviously not great to the ear. So that's what we're doing. We're cleaning all this stuff up, greasing things. Grease and brakes don't go together, remember that. So you want to make sure that when you're doing it, you're being careful not to get it on the surface of the brake itself or the pad. And then we've got to do a bedding procedure. So the brake is back together. We've got our pin in, it's locked in. We've got our other pin locked in. Got our locking bolt in. We've greased all of this stuff to keep it from squeaking and rattling and all that fun stuff. And everything is looking good. So next step, I'm going to clean the caliper because we have the wheel off. I'm going to clean the wheel. I'll do the other side and then we'll do the back. Now I'm going to clean up the caliper. What I have done, I've got the 2-bucket system going. So I've got a bucket of soapy water, a bucket of clean water, and some Ultimate all-wheel cleaner. So we're just going to kind of spray the brake caliper down, clean everything up, clean up the hat as well. It's real dirty. And then we're going to dry everything off. And then we're going to basically wait for it to dry and then put the wheel back on. Maybe add in some anti-seize around the center lock. It's a lot. I know I'm overdoing it, but you better do it right or just don't do it at all. Don't worry too much about getting water in the inside between that stuff. You're going to hit the brakes, you're going to heat them up, you're going to do all that anyways. This is just one extra step that you don't even have to take. I just like to do it. I'll take a look at that. So much better. So much better. And simple as that. That's all we do. It's simple, but it works and makes everything look a lot better. When I put the wheel on, it'll be nice and clean. So there's that. All right. So the front wheels are back on. The brake calipers are nice and clean. A little bit of polish on them as well. Why not? Went ahead and cleaned the wheels. Everything looks great. So we got the front done. We're going to chalk the front wheels, let the car down. Then we're going to lift the back of the car and do the back brakes. So I'll record some of that process. Try to make it quick. This has already been a pretty long video, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, we got the back of the car lifted up. It was just the same as the front. We're not going to video all that. Now we'll pull the wheels off, and we'll do the same thing we did in the front on the back. I'll go through over some of that process, but it's going to be quick, short, sweet, and we'll finish up this video. But even on the lift, this thing looks amazing. Now it's the same process. Here's the sensor we used last time. These are the pads. Now, Aston uses these with these, it's like an anti-rattle to keep from having squeaks. It obviously doesn't work, so the new pad won't have these. But yeah, it's the same process. 2 pins, knock them out, pull the sensor out, put it in the new pad, drop the pads in, clean everything up, blah, blah, blah. You know, so back cleaned up, all done. Look at that caliper. Woo, she screams. Yeah, it's looking real good. So next up, we'll put the wheels back on the back. Before we lower it, we will let the car down and we will pump the brakes because we don't want to take it off the lift because it can just roll off. All right, the car is back on the ground, and now we're going to pump the brakes. Yeah. Got a stiff pedal. Go ahead and start the car. Make sure the pedal feels good. Make sure you got no new lights. I don't see any new lights. All right, guys, the last thing, we got to torque this thing down. Got to set to 120 foot-pounds. What is that? Good to go. And that's it. All done. She's back where she was. Woo, man, I'm tired. That was a good bit of work. I mean, it's not bad. It's just time consuming, really. But yeah, no squeaks. That sounds so much better. Oh, I'm so happy with this thing now. I mean, it was like you'd be pulling up and it sounds like a school bus. It was so bad. But now it's fixed. Thank you, Porterfield, for sending me some good brake pads. And yeah, that's her sitting there looking good. So, really happy with that. The rest of the car's a little dirty, but we'll get that cleaned up for the show next weekend. And yeah, guys, that's her sitting there hanging out. Looking good. But yeah, guys, if you like content like this, hit that button, hit that like button, hit that share button. And I'll see you on the next one. Hopefully we'll have something fun going on, not more service related stuff. This was a full service, so I did the brakes, did an oil change, I got everything dialed in, and she's ready to go. So ready for that next trip. We'll see you later. Have a good one. Peace. Well, I'm almost done. I've still got to put 2 cars back up, but see y'all on the next one. Peace out.